Hey YouTube, what the crap is going on here? Carthage here, gonna bring you some more Total War action. I wanted to bring you some campaign action from a Rome mod. A lot of you have requested this. Just to keep this in perspective, I want you all to know that I'm not going to play like some gigantic thing because, I mean, these mods are pretty expansive. This one that I'm on right now, like I said, is Rome Total Realism VII. It's a good one. There's lots of good ones out there. I've played Roma Surrectum too. I've played Europa Barbarum. There are a couple of the two more popular ones, it seems like. All of them are good, and all of them add a lot of realism to the units. But there's also bad things, in my opinion, that they do. There's good and bad. So these mods, I think, were built for a purpose and a type of gameplay that certain people are looking for, and I like a lot of features of it, but there's some things I don't like, but I just figured we could play it. I'll show you a little bit of it, and we'll also talk about what we might like to see in Rome 2 when it comes out next year, because I think that we're all a little excited for that. I know I am. So here's all the different factions that you can play as, and here's the campaign map. So basically this is the Romans here, the SPQR. There's not, 3 different Roman factions in this one. And also of note, the start date, I'm not sure if it's the same in the other Rome Total War, but you start in about 280 BC. You got the Carthaginians, which of course one of my favorite factions. The Carthaginians start extremely wealthy and with a lot of provinces, which is very historical for this time period. So interesting start for the Carthaginians. You have a lot to do and a lot of territory to defend. Of course, the Romans, you can see, have not even quite finished expanding into southern parts of Italy because the Epirotes, which is this faction right here, the Epirotes control that area, and they also control Syracuse and face off against Carthaginians. This is the Macedonian faction. Of course, these all have much more historic names. Here's the Aetolian Greeks. I'm not exactly sure who these guys represent. Greek history is not my thing. But it looks like they're up in the areas around Athens, so I can only assume that perhaps it's part of the league that the Athenians were in. If I'm wrong, I'm sure it'll be corrected. You got Celt Iberia here, which is interesting. These are the Celts in the Iberian Peninsula. This is where you had a lot of the Falcata troops and good cavalry. I'm sure it'd be an interesting faction. This is the Spartans, and I'm very tempted to play as the Spartans. I very well might, just because they're so stinking cool. The Spartans in this game are pretty beasts, but they don't have very good cav, and I do like having the cav. These are the Illyrians. They're up the coast there where you'd expect them to be. Lusitani tribes. These guys would be squaring off against other barbarians and possibly the Carthaginians. You got the Arvini, which I guess are probably some Gauls. Yeah, it says they're Gauls. Idui is another Gallic faction. You got the Getae tribes here, which probably, yeah, the Dacians is what it says. That would have been my guess. The League of Achaia, or however you say it, Achaean League. This is another Greek city-state faction. I believe they control Corinth, would be the major city there. Actually, I could be wrong. I don't remember if it's Corinth. It's one of the other major Greek cities. Sorry, I'm not real good with the Greeks. You got the Numidians. It looks like some northern Gauls there. And then you got the Eastern Greeks. These are the guys that control Pergamon, I believe. Yeah, Pergamon. So you got a lot of different factions you can choose from here. Very, very interesting. And right now I'm kind of deciding whether I want to play as the Macedonians or the Spartans. Oof. The Macedonians have more fun cav, and that would be interesting. They control a larger expanse, so it's a little tougher. Of course, playing as the Romans would be fun too. I don't think I've ever brought you all a Roman campaign, so maybe let's play as the Romans. I don't think I've ever done that, so I'll play as the Romans. If you guys really like it, I might bring you some more. So like I said, I'm not going to do this whole hold 50 regions thing. That's going to take absolutely forever for me to do that. These mods are a whole lot of fun. They make the game look a lot better, but they're not exactly the most filmable when it comes to YouTube purposes, so it's just something to be aware of, just because there's a whole lot more turns involved. The building, so there's 4 turns per year in this particular mod, and the buildings take like 15 turns sometimes to build, so it takes a long time. There's a whole lot of turn ending. Troops are very expensive, buildings are very expensive, and you have to really focus on your economy as well, which is good. All of these things add like a whole lot of different features that I think you would all like. Anyway, here's a welcome from the Rome Total Realism team. Anyway, it's just giving you a little bit of advice that I've already seen. And then we got our campaign advisor up here who's introducing herself. And she basically walks us through the beginning of the campaign. So there's Rome, the Eternal City. And she's going to walk us down here to a historical battle that starts off the campaign, which is pretty cool. So we're going to fight the Battle of Heraclea, which was the historic face-off between King Pyrrhos and, oh, I can't remember the Roman's name. She tells us here. So that's the good thing about Total Realism, is that she's going to tell us the name. So she says that it's nearly impossible for us to win this battle as Rome. I take exception to that. And apparently the Roman general is Publius Valerius Laevinus, however you say it. I can't pronounce Latin. Let's go ahead and load up the battle. She's saying that it's almost impossible for us to win this. Like I said, I take exception to that. I'll bet we're just playing against an AI, and I'm guessing that we can probably use the terrain to our advantage somehow. So I would expect that if this battle is set up to be somewhat historically accurate, I would expect the Epirot troops to have a very large, what do you call it, veteran advantage. They would probably be much more professional type army. The Roman army at this time did have some professional troops, but they were usually called up as needed. So I would think that the Epirot army is probably going to have a whole lot of experience upgrades. I didn't look. But anyway, you can already see that the graphics are a major upgrade over the vanilla version of Rome Total War. So here's some of the troops. Like, these are Histati right here. Here's some Principes. These guys are looking good. Here's some, oh, there's some Triarii right here. Some pretty cool units. Some slingers. Here's my Praetorian Cav. This is the where my Roman general's at. And then I've got some Equites. So here's the Roman Equites. They're represented as heavy cav, which would have probably been a lot more accurate, because the Equites were a unit that were basically the wealthy of Rome, the wealthy nobles, because they were the only ones who could afford a horse, and the armor, of course, and everything that was involved. And at this time, I believe you had to own your own stuff. I don't think the Roman army provided them with the army. I believe they had to own their own equipment, which is why the Principes, which usually the veterans, were a little, better armed and armored. And of course the Equites, they would have had to been able to provide a horse. I've got some Velites here as well. I'm going to put them up front, do a little bit of skirmishing. Put them in loose formation. Bring my general up here to help support my troops. Let's get our Triarii. We'll go in a standard Acer triplex formation. Histati, Principe, Triarii. And then I've got a whole bunch of basically auxilia troops. These ones right here are Hoplomachy Campagnani or whatever. So basically they're hoplites from the Campania area. And then I've got some Oscan infantry, I believe, yeah. Or Oski Levis Amateur. This is another missile unit. I've got 2 of those guys. So I'll actually put all them up front. My Velites. We'll try and drop some serious missile fire. Put them on fire at will. Oh, and I've got these Petites Oski, which is a heavy sword infantry unit. Here they are. So they're armed similar to what the Romans are armed there, with a kind of a scutum type shield. Got some slingers as well. Don't really expect these guys to do much good for me. I'll just keep them towards the back, and I'll bring my Equites up here and hopefully pull off some good strikes. Let's go ahead and start the battle. I'm going to fast forward, try and get the Epirot troops to march up the hill towards me. There they are. Well, let's go take a look at them. Well, I'll take a look at them when they get closer. Let's go ahead and fast forward a little. I don't want this to take forever, because that's one thing that I actually... So I love the different troop variety that you get in this Total Realism mod. So the troop variety is fantastic. The campaign is really cool, set up to be very historically accurate. Your characters even have historically accurate names. The battles aren't quite so fast as they are in the regular vanilla Rome Total War, and that's kind of cool, and it's also kind of bad. So sometimes the battles get really overly drawn out, in my opinion, and that can be a point of frustration. But it just depends on the situation. Now, and remember, historically, the Epirots, they are fielding elephants, and here are those elephants. They're towered Asian elephants. And of course, my skirmisher troops will be best at defeating them. I do have some Epirot Cav, which is some heavy Cav here coming up the hill. I'm going to intercept them with my Equites. You can see that there are a lot of the little tiny flags So, oh, I don't want my skirmishers shooting those guys. Yeah, I don't want my velites wasting their, Okay, now I'm getting charged by a whole bunch of generals' bodyguard cav straight up the center. I'm going to pull off one of these units of skirmishers and hit those elephants. These heavy cav of the Epirotes are going to be very tough. So I don't know how that fight's going to turn out, to be quite honest. I'm going to just kind of let the enemy cav charge on into the front of my... These guys have a bonus versus the elephants. I'm just going to try and keep those elephants busy over there. I got more Epirote cav coming into that fight, so I'm going to reinforce it with some hoplites. Yeah, the Epirotes have a lot of cavalry. So I'm just going to try and pin down the Epirote advance in the center. So I'm going to let them kind of bunch their troops up there. I'll bring my Pinkapes out here to engage those Pes Heteroi. At least I believe they're Pes Heteroi. I'm going to also throw some Triarii up here. They do have the inspirational banner. You can see those elephants are being held up by a lot of my crummy units over here, which is what I want. If they get into the back of my men, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to attack these guys from the side. I'm going to start out flanking maneuvers with my my Triarii. My Triarii have a bonus versus cav, of course, which is handy. My other Triarii units right here helping hold the center. Now the Epirotes do have one unit of As Heteroi, which is like a better... it's a better unit of Phalangist. As long as these elephants are busy, that pretty much makes me happy. There's another unit. Okay, that's the Pes Heteroi. Oh, these are the Az Heteroi over here. These guys are going to be trouble. I'm actually going to go reinforce my Pinkapes, because those Az Heteroi are going to be extraordinarily dangerous. I do have my other hoplites in the area helping take down the enemy cav. You can see the enemy cav was indeed much stronger than my Equites, which I think is to be expected. I'm going to try and get my general out and see if I can run any hammer and anvil strikes. I might try and run them right through this little gap here. Those elephants are still hanging on, but my cheap skirmisher units are doing their job of just kind of keeping those guys bogged down. Okay, I'm just going to squeeze my general unit through here. The height advantage is going to be, you know, playing some bonuses for me, thank goodness. I'm going to see if we can hammer and anvil strike some of those Greek hoplites right there. I'm going to pull right back out of that fight and go try and find another spot in which to affect the battle. I'm going to pull those hoplites off and try and finish off that heavy cav while I've got it pinned down. They've got some archers over there too, and you can see these Pes Heteroi are following my general. So I'll keep them moving and keep them out of the fight. Elephants are still all bogged down. There's a large mass of the Epirote troops here, and hopefully we can get a rout going. Actually lost 3 or 4 of my general's bodyguard units right there too. It's going to be worth it though. I've really got to I've got to get a rout going. If I can take out the enemy general too, that would be a big help. Because taking out the enemy general in this game also does make a big deal. Or it makes a big difference. I shouldn't say it makes a big deal. It makes a big difference. You can see that heavy cav completely destroyed my cav and has plenty left over. The number of upgrades that the AI has right there is pretty substantial. I'm going to keep chasing them with my... where's my general at? Let's see, like I said, I want to keep my general going. Okay, so we've just routed King Pyros, and that is going to be a big benefit to my men. If I can kill him, it'll basically turn the tide of the entire battle. I've got my slingers still focusing fire on him. I don't know if I'll be able to take him down though. But you can see I just routed an Epirot unit right there with a hammer and anvil strike from my general. I'm going to run some more hammer and anvil strikes. I've really got to use the morale advantage that's been given to me by the fact that Pyros himself has routed. These elephants are still running amok, but you can see my skirmishers have a lot higher morale than you would find in your standard. I'm going to take those guys out, get my general out of that fight. I don't want to lose my general either, or else that whole thing is going to turn around on me. So I'm actually going to pull my general back to safety for now. I'm going to actually take my general and maybe I can run down and kill King Pyros. If I can kill him, then that's going to make, like I said, all the difference in the world. But there is a heavy cav unit over here that I'm going to be careful of. That heavy cav unit is liable to kill my general as well. I've got these Pez Heteroi outmaneuvered, and I've got a lot of the Epirot infantry outmaneuvered in several spots. Like I said, I don't want to engage those hippies. No, I didn't say hippies either. At least that may be how it's pronounced even, I don't know. There's Pyros right there riding on his horse. Or this is him right there in the red. If I can kill him, it should actually turn this battle to a victory for us. But right now this battle is definitely still up in the air. There he goes. And you can see his troops in the vicinity just immediately routing. And I'm going to quickly reinforce my troops. I'm going to get my general out of here. He's in a pretty great deal of danger with those heavy cav around. Those Toxotai are charging me. That's Greek archers. Those elephants are still going crazy over here. They're exhausted though, so hopefully they might run amok eventually. That's a Triarii unit that was doing all that fighting. Triarii are a lot better on this game as well, which they should be. They were pretty misrepresented in the vanilla version of Rome Total War. Oh crap, my general got charged by a bunch of these Tarentine Cav. I'll use these hoplites to get that Tarentine Cav off my general. Like I said, I really don't want to lose my general, or else this fight could just turn right back around. So you see I'm going to run circles around those hoplites until the enemy cav gets caught on them. Looks like we have a pretty good route going here in the center. I'm going to keep refocusing. Yeah, the Epirot troops are kind of in a mass rout now. Those Pez Heteroi over there are still surrounded. The elephants routed. So the computer basically said that this battle was nearly impossible. We've proved them wrong at this point. Though it was a difficult battle, to say the least. Here's my Triarii duking it out. The graphics on this game really are outstanding. My general really has played an important role in this battle too. There goes some more of the Epirot troops routing in the face of my Triarii. So it's really bad if your Triarii rout, because you can see they're carrying a Legionary Eagle. So the Triarii is similar to the first cohort that you see in the vanilla version of Rome Total War. Check out these Pez Heteroi duking it out with my my troops here. You can see I've got them outflanked, which obviously is one of the best ways to break the strength of a pike phalanx. Otherwise, the pike phalanx is a very tough unit indeed. And it looks like this last remaining unit here is kind of a Greek hoplite type unit. That's why they're so tough. These Greek hoplite type units are very tough, even in close-up fights with Roman troops. Still got my Triarii taking those guys down. I might take my general and see if I can hunt down some of these archers. But there's some regrouping units coming back. So we need to try and finish these guys off pretty soon. Like I said, as you can see, these battles last a long time. Another reason why this thing isn't super video friendly. And your guys also get completely exhausted during these long fights. And so then it just takes even longer for the fight to be completed. Use my general to help get rid of some of these guys a little quicker. Hopefully these hoplites here will rout soon. They've been in a long, drawn-out fight there in the center. Like I said, you can definitely tell that the morale system and the armor and the defense and all that stuff has been changed so that the battles last a little longer, and this is no doubt to probably try and give it a little bit more epic feel, rather than just your standard, like, quick one hammer and anvil and out kind of Rome Total War type battle. Use my general there, transfer these troops to the center. Those Greek units actually held on there, they did not rout. So I need to go ahead and get this fight in the center finished as quickly as possible. These as heteroi have regrouped, that's a dangerous group. But I'm going to go ahead and run right past them and try and get into these Cretan Archers, I believe those are Cretan Archers. But you can see they have like the historic Greek type names, which is probably part of the reason why they're confusing me. Man, that unit is tougher than nails. They've only lost 3 men since the last time I looked at it. Those Cretan Archers have turned around and started to fight my general. In a prolonged fight, it's possible they could beat my general. In fact, they probably will, so I cannot lose my general, or else that Pez heteroi or as heteroi unit is going to become very dangerous to me. You can see it's already moving up the hill. I really need this hoplite unit to rout, but it's just dying extremely slow due to its heavily armored nature. Got some Rhodian slingers back here too. I think I'm just going to bypass all that and pull my general back closer to my men. My Triarii are basically knocking these guys out, which is good. Triarii would have been like the oldest, most experienced veterans, of course, of the Roman army. I don't think I need to tell you that for you to understand it. Most of you usually already know that. Let's see if I can hit this Pez heteroi and knock it out of the fight. Looks like those hoplites are trying to go for my general. Okay, we routed that Pez heteroi. I'm going to actually run further up the hill away from that as heteroi. Try and put myself in a better position to fight it. Those Cretan Archers are probably out of ammo and they're chasing my general. This unit right up here is still in the fight. They've started to lose some more men. That unit is incredibly strong. I'm going to kill some of these Pez heteroi with my general. Looks like we did rout that other unit with their Triarii, so we'll go outflank this as heteroi unit. Like I said, these guys are the elite pike phalanx, so they're going to be basically like the strongest troops in the Epirot army as far as heavy infantry is concerned. I just don't want all those guys coming back from routing. Okay, my Triarii, I have these guys outflanked, and I have a hill advantage. This unit is still steady, and it says victory seems certain. I hope that's not true, but those guys have fought like absolute lions, and I have to say that I'm pretty impressed. Those Cretan Archers have come into the fight as well. I may still lose this battle. I'm losing troops over here. Just lost my Hastati, of course, or actually no, that's one of my Oski. Golly, these guys are tough. Completely surrounded for as long as they are, and they may fight their way out of it. I'm worried about those. I'm worried about those as heteroi fighting their way out of that as well. I may see if I can get like a strike on the back of these Cretan Archers and rout them. I don't need those guys there making this fight any harder for me. Because I'm guessing that those as heteroi will win that fight unless I change something. But that's good though. This battle's going to be historic. If I do win it, it's going to be a Pyrrhic victory, and if I don't win it, it's going to be a Pyrrhic victory. The only difference is that King Pyros died here, which didn't happen in real life. Let's see if I can rout these Cretan Archers. I'm going to start cyclo-charging them and see if I can get them out of the fight. Good gravy, this battle's lasting a long time. Good gosh, come on, rout. Alright, they're starting to chase me at least. That'll get them off my Triarii so they can focus on those Azteteroi. Maybe if I bring my general over here, help inspire my men. I do have this Triarii unit here that's got the inspirational standard. I mean, this is incredible, man. This phalanx has been surrounded, like, I mean, they've been surrounded for, I can't even tell you how long. It's probably been 15 minutes they've been over here fighting surrounded. Oh, Triarii, kill them. Ignore the stupid Cretan Archers. Golly, I lost another unit. It's just a missile unit, thank goodness. These guys are down to 36 men, but man, I don't have a whole lot more men than that around there too. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose this fight over here with these Azteteroi. My general does not have enough horsemen left to win that fight. If I could rout these freaking spearmen, then I would have this thing in the bag. But these guys are still steady. Down to 33 men. Completely exhausted 32 men now. Still fighting strong though. These Cretan Archers are going to come over and get involved in here. I'm going to start rear charging them again. That could hurt the morale of my men. Yep, I just lost a Principe unit. Dang it, and they had 21 men left. Lost them to a freaking Cretan Archer. I'm going to try and regroup these Principes. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I'll bet you that just lost me this fight. Unbelievable. Yeah, but I mean, the Epirot troops are just much higher quality than my troops. If I could just rout any of the Epirot troops in this area, it would really help me. Even routing these Cretan Archers would be nice. It says they're shaken. Hopefully I don't lose my Triarii unit here. If it routs, I'm screwed. Sorry this is taking so long. I just want you all to get a feel for how these work. Hopefully you don't think it's boring. Hopefully it's kind of some insight to you. Man, I wish I hadn't lost my Equites so early on. I should have done a better job like protecting my Equites. I should have just ran them away from the enemy cav and engaged the enemy cav with my my hoplites. Gosh, I just need to get one of these units to rout. These Cretan Archers are almost dead. The spearmen are down to 27 men. Rhodian slingers are now in that fight. That's great. Those Azteteroi have completely destroyed me over there. This is going to get fought down to like almost the last man. This is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, it says those spearmen are shaken. I'm going to do a rear charge on them real quick and see if I can get them to waver. Crap, those Azteteroi just killed all my guys over there. and lost very few men in the process. So the Epirotes actually now have more men left than I do. I did just rout those stupid Cretan Archers finally. Let's take these Hastati. I'm guessing those Cretan Archers might come back from routing though. This is pretty risky running my general in and out of here. But I've just got to do anything I can. Yes! Finally killed the spearmen. So I'm going to run further up the hill. We'll try and lure those Azheteroi into an even worse position. Wow, man, those guys fought like dragons. That is unbelievable. Those Rhodian slingers, I can still hear them flinging stones, so I'm going to try and run them down. Hopefully a downhill charge from my bodyguard might break them. Like I said, the morale is a lot different on this game, so it's hard to say. I'm going to make sure all my units are on fire at will. I might be able to get a few kills on these Azheteroi with my Pilla, and that would be extraordinarily helpful, because I'm not going to get many kills on these guys in melee. But I'm not getting much kills with the Pilla either. In fact, I haven't gotten a single one yet. Okay, I routed the Rhodian slingers, so now I can come back up behind this Azheteroi unit. Still haven't gotten a single Pilla kill, and I'm throwing a lot of Pilla. Yeah, it'll give you an idea how tough these guys are. Look at them just taking one Pilla after another. They've only lost one guy. It does say they are shaken, though. And I'm going to keep throwing Pilla right up until the time I don't have to throw it anymore. Just because, like I said, I'm probably way more likely. They're going to attack my Hastati right there in the center. I'll take every other unit I have to the flank. Let's see if we can go ahead and get a rout on these guys real quick. They are wavering. And they rout. Holy crap, we won the battle.
The enemy show their true virtue.
Good gravy.
Victory by the decree of fate, perhaps.
So there's the casualty list. We'll see which units did the best. Wow, these Petites Oski, those guys got some kills. Look at that, casualties inflicted 160. These guys were fantastic. One of my Principe units did good. 116 kills to my wow, those guys did good too. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed that. Let's get back to the campaign map and take a look at it. Alright, so we struck a victory at Heraclea, albeit a very, very Pyrrhic victory. And the units that I can't retrain, which I'm guessing, well actually I don't know, I probably can retrain a lot of these guys. I do want to get them back to a major city though, where I might be able to retrain them. So on the Rome Total Realism map, the cities with the capital letters are the major settlements. The cities with the regular writing there are the smaller settlements. So there's not much, like, you don't really train militaries there per se. So you can see all the major Roman cities. Of course, we got Rome up here in the north. You got Iridium, Arimnum. You got Cannae over here, which is cool too. Tarentum down here. Of course, it has not been taken from the Epirotes yet, so something to be aware of. I'm going to take my general back to Grumentum here. Grumentum, however you say it. I am not good with that type of pronunciation. It looks like I can retrain my... Oh, I have an army here. Some Petites Oski. So if I go to Recruitment they're one of the units that I can train, and they actually did really well in that fight. Their melee attack is 13. Let me take a look at my Principes, if I have any left. I'm not sure any of my Principes survived that fight. See, my Triarii, I have an attack at 12. I don't have any Principes left after that fight. Or yeah, I do, right here. Yeah, their attack's 30. So these guys have the same attack as Principes. It's just Principes have more defense. And so this is probably not going to be a bad unit to backbone a lot of my armies with. And I think for the sake of saving money, I can't retrain these Hastati, so I'm just going to ditch them, and I will replace them with these troops that I can retrain. I can also retrain these Oscan levies. These guys are pretty good troops, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the Velites too, because I can't retrain them here. And it looks like I can train Equites Oski here, or Oskai, however that's pronounced. I don't really know how to pronounce it right. I'm going to take my two Equite units, combine them, so that'll save me some upkeep there, and then let's go ahead and retrain the troops that I can retrain. Or I could have retrained the Velites there, my bad. Whatever. That's okay. Like I said, I just want to make the most of the troops that I can retrain. Another thing to be aware of is, so like the troop training is regional. So while I'm here in the Rome area, of course, you know, I might be able to train Sam Knights if I'm in that region, or like in this area I said, you know, like the Oski troops, the Oscan troops, you can use them. And of course, you know, when I'm around Rome, I can probably train, you know, all your typical Roman troops here. You can see that I can indeed. So I can train all the standard Roman troops. Scorpions are actually really useful in this game too, something to be aware of. Let's go up north and see what kind of troops we can train up here. Yep, there's the Hoplomachii Etrusci, which is basically Etruscan hoplites. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I got light spearmen as well, so you can see I can train Etruscan troops up here. And Equites Etrusci. Pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. I wonder if there's any Samnite troops that I can train. They were pretty well known as well back in the day. I don't remember what area they were from though. Let's take a look. Yep, Samnite right here. Cool. There's a lot of fun stuff going on. Anyway, you can see that I start with quite a bit of money, but it's also, things are very expensive. You really don't have to do a whole lot with your smallish settlements because they only have so many buildings that can be built. So let's just take a look at some of the smaller settlements and see what can be built, if anything. I'll go ahead and take the all the stuff off of auto manage. You can see that you can build a trader. These are worthwhile just because it's going to drive your income up. So you have to really focus on your economy before you can focus on a military in these mods. That's just something to be aware of. And sorry, these first couple of turns are going to take a while. If you all just be patient and bear with me, it'll go by relatively quick. I don't need a war harbor right now. I'm not concerned. Biggest thing I'm concerned with is economy, and you have to build the buildings that are going to bring in your raw goods, and then these traders, of course, once you've built those, it helps increase your trade. So there's some of these bigger cities where we're going to want to make sure we've constructed the things that help bring in the raw goods. Bath Academy, looks like we've already got some stuff here. Not going to build anything there quite yet. I want to get these traders built at these little towns. You can see that it takes 5 turns to build one of these, which is just over a year in the game time, and it takes a lot of money. They're expensive, but it should help drive my economy in the right direction to go ahead and get these built in my small towns. I'll also build the roads because that increases your trade as well. A useful investment, plus it helps move your troops around quicker. So I'm spending quite a lot of my money. I'll probably end up spending almost all of it building these traders, but it should have a pretty handsome payback. What I will do, though, is go around and disband troops if I need to as well at this point, just because we want to make sure we don't have too large of an army. Because even though we just fought like a huge army there, there's not necessarily like a bunch of huge computer armies around here. See, I got some Hastati, some generals. You don't want to have too many generals either because they're quite expensive. Let's see, I think I've pretty much done all that I want to do. We have a large army right here as well, and right now I'll just garrison it here in Iridium, however you pronounce it, and keep that as my defense in the north. Let's take a look at our financials real quick. Right now, our projected profits minus 100,000. That's really not good. I mean, that means we're going to go like all kinds of broke, which means that we have got to fix our situation pretty quickly. Hopefully I don't have to do any cheating. You can see our farming income and our tax income, everything here, wages, army upkeep, construction. Oh, that's just for this turn though, and I've got all this construction going on, so I think in the next turn we'll actually be okay. So let's go ahead and end this turn. We'll take a look at it at the end of this turn. You can see the other factions going there. Some of you might be upset that I didn't play as Carthage. Look, it says Rome, the Battle of Heraclea was a defeat. I think for all intents and purposes it was, just because I pretty much lost my whole army. I'm not really sure what it is. Let's go back to our financials and see how we're doing. Looks like we will turn a profit, which is good. So we don't really need to go through getting rid of any troops at this point. But you will have to notice that some of your troops, like say for instance, let's take a look at my army up here in the north. My units like the Equites are going to, well, those actually don't have a bad upkeep cost. But you'll notice, of course, that some of the troop upkeep can be quite high depending on the type of unit. Anyway, so these campaigns can be fun. I hope you all enjoy this. As far as how does Rome Total Realism compare to, you know, what I would hope to see in a Rome 2 type campaign? Realism, of course, obviously, this game is old, and as great as Rome Total Realism is, there's only so much that it can do for the graphics. So right here it's asking me if I want to adopt a benefactor. I don't, just because I don't think I have the money nor the need right now, because that's more troop upkeep, but you can choose to take those guys in if you want. Like I was saying, so Rome 2, obviously the graphics are going to be fixed. I think that realism is a great thing to a certain extent. There's a certain extent to which realism becomes kind of unplayable. So like on this particular game, the battles take an extremely long time, and they can get to be quite a nuisance. But they are fun though for the most part. I don't want to mislead you too much. But you know, there's like, it's not exactly what I would hope for in an all-out like Rome 2 Total War type situation. Just so you all know. That's just my feeling though. You don't have to agree with me. These Fundators or whatever, these guys are kind of terrible. They're not real useful. I'm going to ditch them. So even though they have a better range, I really find that on this game in particular that the javelin armed skirmishers tend to be very worthwhile. And these guys have a decent attack. They have 11 melee attack. That makes them pretty good in a drawn out fight, whereas say like these Velites only have that. So these guys are some pretty handy units, so I'd like to get more of them. I do still have this Hastati unit that I can't retrain. Let's just go ahead and ditch it. We'll make kind of like an auxiliary army down here. I don't want to waste too much money all at once training on these guys. Let's go ahead and end another turn. I am so excited for Rome 2 though. Like I'm already seeing these pictures. Looks like we're under siege. That's, oh, well heck. Looks like old Pyros is back for revenge here. Of course it's not Pyros because we killed him. So we're going to have to go out and try and beat these guys down. Settlement occupied, Con A. So it looks like the Epirotes are making a move on me. And so far they've got very few people to stand in their way. So let's take our army from, wow man, Rome is way over here. Like I said, this map is much larger. Let's see what we've got in Capua here. Maybe it would be best for me to react from Arpae. I need a general. I don't have a general out here. I'm going to need some more heavy infantry though, so I'm going to go ahead and start training a couple. Let's see if we can find a general. I might have to bring him down from Rome. Let's see if we can start moving that way, because it's going to take us a while to get there. I can fight these guys off down here. At least I feel pretty confident that I can. I have more troops than they do. So let's go ahead and make this move. This is my faction heir too. And this is the guy who just won the Battle of Heraclea, even though the computer thought I lost. Let's go ahead and beat these guys back. Looks like his army's pretty craptacular. He's got one Greek hoplite unit, some Siloi here, which is basically some skirmishers, and then he's got some Greek Toxotai and Tarentine Cav, so we should be able to defeat them pretty soundly. Alright, I am just beginning the battle outside the city here. I've got all my skirmishers arrayed out front. The enemy Cav is going to try and run down my skirmishers. This Tarentine Cav is technically a light Cav, they're a skirmisher cav, so I'm going to go ahead and run them down. And my skirmishers are actually pretty formidable in a melee, so I'm actually going to run them in. And I'll go reinforce with my heavier infantry. Looks like the computer's really digging in for a cav fight here. The Tarentine cav just routed. It doesn't have the power to stand against even my skirmishers here. My skirmishers have a much higher attack. I've got their hoplites completely surrounded here. My guys should do well at taking them out. Their Tarentine cav is just running away from me. In fact, all their troops are running away from me at this point, it seems like. So I'll just let their Tarentine cav run. I'll try and kill the Epirote general. He's right here. See, the Tarentine cav is going to be throwing javelins at me, and their javelins are pretty effective. You can see it's getting a fair number of kills on my men. But the Epirote bodyguard is also suffering. It's down to 2 men, and they're charging in their archers to try and finish me off. You can see there the... Come on, kill him. Looks like the Epirote general is going to get away. It's the only man standing in the unit. You can see him there surrounded by my equites. Try and take him down. If he goes down, his army should rout. That's him right there, the Epirote general. He's got some pretty cool clothes on, I have to say. Is that my Roman general right there? I think it could be. I can't tell. There's a couple different types. Okay, so their hoplites just routed. To be expected. Wow, that general's unit is really hanging on. He still hasn't routed. I'm gonna keep chasing him down. I really want him to get killed. It says he's still steady, but he's running away from me. I don't know if I'll be able to catch him or not. I think the Epirote troops are retreating at this point. They've got their missile troops running away from me. I don't believe I'm going to be able to catch their general. Which is unfortunate that he's going to get away alive. Kind of frustrating, to be honest. Can't believe he stayed in that fight all that time and lived. Let's watch what happens to these Greek Toxotai as they take a charge from my equites. This ought to be pretty good. It routed them. The charge on heavy cavalry, of course, is very strong in these games. Their sustained melee power is not so great. And of course this game, you know, I haven't gotten to use all the cavalry yet, but I'm sure there's some heavy cav that's also pretty good in a sustained melee, but none of the ones that I have are. I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward because I think that's pretty much going to be the end of the fight. Yep, looks like the Epirote general is going to get away. And we'll go ahead and end the battle.